Good day, everyone. Uh, Let us try to go through this paper here, which is the May-June 2023 question paper 3.1. So in this paper, I want us to go through the web page part, the section on the web page, which is task number 3. So let us just go straight into the question paper and see what we were supposed to do here. So you are working as part of a team of web developers at TowerWeb and have been asked to create parts of a web page for a client. And then a number 12, instruction 12, you are supposed to create CSS to be added to an external style sheet to meet this specification. So we need to set the font and the font for H1, H2, and H3 and the paragraph style so that the browser selects and displays the font Calibri if not available. The browser selects and displays this one. Okay, so this is the question. So we need to place a copy of your CSS in your evidence document. So there are 66 marks. So let's try to do this instruction here. So for the web page, we use an application which is called Microsoft Expression Web, which is version 4. So when you open the application, it's going to be like this. What we need to do here, I think we are used to this application. Let's got the design, the code, and also the speed. So when we look at the code on this side, it should appear like this. So in most cases, there are settings that you need to do in order for the application to be on the correct settings. So what do you need to do? Please let us try to make sure that before you do anything, you set your web expression to HTML5. So how do we do that? You start by clicking on Tools, and then you go to Page Editor Options. And then once you've clicked on Page Editor Options, this dialog box is going to show, and then here you select on authoring. Select authoring on this tabs here. So once you've selected on authoring, the default HTML file extension, it's HTML, but please make sure that you change it to HTML to .htm. So you select .htm, and then the document type declaration here, make sure that you change it to HTML5. Change the document type declaration to HTML5. And then also on the CSS schema here, change the CSS schema to CSS3 draft, which is the latest version. So there are 3 things that you are going to change here. Is the default HTML extension, change it to .htm. Change also the document type declaration to HTML5, which is the latest version. And then you also change the CSS schema to CSS3 draft. This is going to save you a lot as you are doing your web page, and then you are going to say OK. So after clicking OK, what you need to do, you need to close this page that you have opened in order for you to be able to now have a page with the new settings. So you close the page and then you open a new HTML page. You open a new HTML page so that when you go to the code, you can find it like this. I think we can note that on the declaration tag, we now do not have this many information that you have here. And also on the opening tag for HTML, we do not have this many data that we are going to be having here. This will also allow you to easily insert tags like the video tag instead of the object tag when you're inserting a video file. So let's make sure that we start by changing or setting our web expression to HTML5 and also the CSS schema to be CSS3 draft. Okay, now once you are done with it, this has to be done each and every time you are opening the expression, because the changes are going to go back to the defaults. So let us get into the question. So we need to create CSS to be added. This is the CSS that we need to. So how do you create a new or the new CSS style as it is specified in the question? How do we create the new CSS as it has been specified in the question? So you click on new document and then you go to CSS. You say new document and then you go to CSS. So okay, you can do the saving. I think we are still we can still be able to do those instructions of saving the CSS file. So now once we have the CSS here, you can go to your format and then you say new style, format, new style. And then this dialog box is going to show. Then here we are going to select, or are going to put in the HTML selector that we need to create a style for. So in the question paper, we need to do it is the same formattings for the font style, the style H1, H2, H3, and also the paragraph styles. So these ones, what we are going to do is we are going to type all of them here: H1, H2, H3, and also the paragraph style, like that. So what are we defining for these HTML selectors? We are going to be defining the font family. So in the question paper, you say the font is going to be Calibri. If Calibri is not available, the Helvetica is going to be selected by the browser. So here we should have Calibri. So this one is Calibri, and then if it's not available, it's let me see on the question paper, it's Helvetica. It's Helvetica. I think it's like this. Yes, and then if either of these ones are not available, the browser should display its default sans serif font. So for that one, we are going to delimit with a comma, and then we are going to type sans serif, so that the browser can choose the default serif font. And please make sure that you note that if the value here, if the value has got two words, it needs to be in double quotes. But because we are using the software, it is going to put that the double quotes for us. So we are done with this part. So we are going to see how it shows in the code. So we are going to say okay, and this is the CSS they wanted us to create. So it's going to be like this. So now we are going to place a copy of your CSS. They didn't say you should take a screenshot. You place a copy of your CSS in your evidence documents. That is to say for this one here, you need to just say Control A, you right click, you copy, you go and paste in the evidence document. So that is all that you need to do for this instruction here, instruction number 12, and there are 6 marks. So let us quickly go to instruction number 13, which says create all the head section of a web page to meet the specifications. This one here, we need to insert the title, and then we have these meta tags. We have about 5 of them, and then we also need to set the default target window to blank. So what do we need to do here? We need to make the head section of the web page to meet the specifications. Maybe just briefly, what do we need, or what do we usually have in the head section of a web page? In the head section of a web page, we usually have all the head elements, such as title, style sheets. They can be defined in the head section, and also metadata. And then with the head section, in most cases, we usually place features that are going to be used by the web page but are not going to be displayed anywhere in your web page. So that is usually done in the head section of the web page. So let's quickly go and do this instruction. So we are going to go to the web page. We will change from the CSS. So once you are here, how can you easily insert all your data that you want to have in your head section of your web page without doing all the typing and all those things? So just right click on your web page, just right click and go to page properties. So here is your page properties dialog box window. The first thing, we are having the title here, so we can simply type in the title, which is where the data. So instead of going and typing it in the code, you can just type it in this section, page title. Here it is. So before we move on to the meta tags, let's do this one here. Set the default target window to blank if a new web page is opened from within this web page. So what do we mean by a default target window? So a default target window usually works with the hyperlinks in your web page. So if you have a web page with several hyperlinks that require the same type of action, you can make this the default setting for the page. So for all hyperlinks that are not going to be set to say you want the hyperlink to open in a new page or in the same one, for all those that you are not going to set, their default setting is going to be this one that you are going to be setting here. So this one will be the default for all your hyperlinks in your web page, unless you set the target window when you are creating the hyperlink. So how do we easily do this one without a lot of stress? You can also do it just here in this setting. So here is the default target frame, So just click on this icon here to change the target frame. You click on it, and then here are the common targets. But then, to just make this thing to be very easy, do not be selecting here, even if they've told you to say it should open in a new window in the whole page in the same frame. Just type the target setting. If the target setting you are going to be typing here, it's there in those common targets, it's going to be selected by default. So like in this case, I've just typed the target setting, which is underscore blank, and this one is going to open in a new window. So without creating a lot of stress, I just type the target setting here, and then I'll say okay. So I am done with the target setting. It has been set. Right. Okay, now the meta tags. So we need to set the character encoding to that one that is being given to us, and we have the other four. If you have done this paper well, you have covered all meta tags that are in the syllabus. So what do we mean by meta tags? Tags are not going to be displayed in the browser, but they hold important information that the browser requires. So all data that is not going to, or it's going to be data that is not going to be displayed in the browser, but it is going to be holding a very important information that is going to be needed by the browser. So that includes when you want to specify the character set that is going to be used by the browser, the page description, the keywords, the author of the document, and also what we refer to as a viewport. So how can you easily do this? Because as we have discussed, it's going to be in the head section, of the web page. So here in this window, in this page properties dialog box, we have page description here, we also have keywords. These two, they can be defined just here as they appear. So let us go and see what has been given to us as the page description. So here is the page description. It needs to be set to weather data for the Tawara region. So this one, just type it here, the page description as it is. And then the keywords, we also have the keywords there, and then for the keywords they say set to appropriate meta tag keywords for use by search engines. Any keywords that are going to be relevant here. So keywords, I can say I have Tawara weather, and then I delimit that by using a comma, and then another one I can say is weather data. I can even type the page description so long as it's going to be relevant to weather for Tawara region. But then you can type anything so long as it's going to be relevant to our data here. Okay, maybe another thing that we need to mention before we move on to the second or on to the other two meta tags is that each and every meta tag is going to be having two attributes. Each meta tag will have two attributes. Those are the name and also the content. The name of the meta tag is going to be either page description, keywords, author, or viewport. The name of the meta tag, and then you are going to have the data. The data is going to be what we refer to as the content. So the content is going to be what you want to have your meta tag to be using. So in this case, we have page description, which is our name, and then the content is weather for, and then we have the name for this meta tag is keywords, and then here is the data, the content I mean. So now we want to add the other two, which is the which is going to be the author and also the page, the viewport. So to add the other two, click on custom because they are not here. Click on custom, and then here you are going to find the two that you have added on the other side. So what you need to do is click on add because we want to add the other two messages. So you click on add, and then it's going to show you this dialog box here. The name here, that is going to be the name of the meta tag. In this case, I want to add the author. So that one is the author, and then the value. This is the content, what you want to have in your content. So for the value, what they say with the author, here set the name of the author to Tawara Web followed by a space, then your name. So it's going to be this one here. So I will type it here followed by a space and then your name. So I am done with the one for the author. I'll say okay, it's going to be like that, and then I also say add for the viewport. The name of this one is going to be viewport, and then the value. Okay, for the viewport, for the content of the viewport, we are going to be having two values there. We have two values for the content of the viewport. The first one is going to be, because a viewport is for you are defining how you want your web page to show in devices, how you want your web page to be displayed in different devices. So a viewport here is going to be having two values. of which the first one is going to be the width. So you type width, which is equals to a device width, which is device width here. Let's see what they've said. Okay, it's this one here. Set the viewport to the width of the device being used. That is why we are typing this part here. We are setting the width to be equal to the width of the device being used. And we also set this one here with an initial scaling of 2, with an initial scaling of 2. So this one, what we do is we are going to say comma, and then we type initial scale, initial scale, which is equals to 2. And then we are done with this one here. Please note that we have not yet done this one for the character set. The character set is not anywhere here. We cannot be able to add the character set from here, because if you add it, you will not find it on the other side. Once you are done, you then click OK. Yes, let's note that we have still not done the character set. The character set is not somewhere here. We cannot be able to add the character set from this one. So even if you try to do this one here, there are some challenges we had the last time when we were doing it from using this one here. So what we need to do is we need to just click on OK, and then in order for you to be able to see all your metadata that we have inserted, just go to the code. Here is the title, here is the meta tag. We've been able to add all of them here like this. Here is also the default target window, it has been set. And then for the character set, here is the character set here at the beginning. It's always going to be there. So what you need to do is just remove the value and put in the correct value that has been given to you in the question, which is this one here. So say you'll take that value and you are going to type it just here as your character set. So this is it. And then this tag for the character set, just remove this thing here. So you remove that one, and you also remove this part, because the tag for the character set should be like this, and then we need this thing here. So yes, it's going to be like this now, and you are now done with your metadata as it has been given in the question. So it's going to be like this here. So that is all on the metadata as it has been covered in this question paper. So let us please make sure that we give this to our students so that they can be able to just easily do this metadata. And then they say also place a copy of your HTML source in your evidence document. So also in this case, we are not taking a screenshot. You just say Ctrl+A to highlight everything, you right click to copy, and then you go and paste in your evidence document. Thank you so much for following the lesson. Please make sure that you comment on the YouTube page so that we can be able to see what we need to add on this video, and we are hoping that we are going to be doing more and more of them. Thank you so much.